Eoin, it's such a pleasure to have you on. We always start with, why don't you just tell us about yourself and about DBM Vircon?
Perfect. So DBM Vircon is an American-owned, basically global reach construction modeling, detailing, and digital engineering company. Our ethos is to make designs constructible and to make assets manageable. And we integrate across every aspect of the project lifecycle, all the way from early planning and conceptualization, all the way through to asset management and facilities operation. Now, we have multiple different divisions. The big ones are steel detailing, rebar detailing, but then all the way through to the more niche aspects like the digital engineering and visualization teams. I myself am attached to the digital engineering function. I lead up the buildings and infrastructure service stream. So I am the lead point and single point of contact for all of our buildings and infrastructure projects across Australia, Middle East, Europe, Southeast Asia, and America. Now, what we are all about, as the ethos suggested, is making design constructible and to make those assets manageable. So we are looking at opportunities to apply digital technologies and digital engineering initiatives across that life cycle, whether it be modeling, whether it be data management, whether it be the integration of asset management tables with asset management platforms like Maximo. It's all about maximizing the value of the tools that are available to us, and being able to move the needle on savings across the whole project lifecycle.
Okay, that sounds really comprehensive. We'll try breaking this whole thing down, throughout this podcast, so people could really kind of get a good understanding, of really what all this entails. Because this is a lot to unpack. I think in our earlier conversation, we're really speaking about how you started getting involved in construction. I think it's a really cool story. Like you pretty much jumped into the construction industry right after high school. What drew you in? What happened?
Well, that's a great question. Look, I really wanted to be an architect. I loved to draw. I loved the real nitty-gritty parts of buildings, solving little problems, how things fit together, how things coordinate, etc. And I guess I was always drawn to that particular aspect of it. I went and did my end of year high school work experience with a local architect. And while it was a tremendous experience, I actually ended up doing 2 full weeks with him rather than the statutory 1 week. Just because it was so enjoyable. But as he said to me, the problem-solving aspects are about 30% of the job. The rest of it is about people management, resource management, contracts management, etc. Which, to be honest, at the age of 17, 18, I didn't have the energy or the desire to follow. So I went the other way and leaned into my desire to learn technical and really apply myself there. Became a draftsman, worked up through the industry in Brisbane here. And then as digital technologies came in around sort of 2007, 2008, I grabbed them with both hands. And Revit was my first major departure from the standard 2D way of working. And along the way, I've just picked up other tools and picked up other ways of working. And quite frustratingly now, I would say quite comfortably, only about 10% of my job is actually problem solving in a technical sense. The other 90% spent managing resources, managing people, managing contracts. So it's amazing how things go full circle.
That's really interesting. Also, just how also you're kind of describing this journey, and also the element of I guess the focus of how much work and how much effort goes into actual design, right? A lot of people see it just as you're just designing and you're kind of aloof from everything around you. But over here, you're talking about how much most of your time is actually allocated to managing people, right? So that's also a really interesting thing. I'd love to even hear your perspective on that. What's the most difficult thing that comes to mind when it comes to the people and resource management?
Look, that's a very good question, and doubtless we could unpack it for days on end and get just about nowhere. But I guess the bit that really strikes me as most consistent across the board, and not just specific to this industry, is the idea of expectations. Particularly when you're dealing with people, everybody's got multiple different expectations, whether they be technical, whether they be contractual, whether they be resource specific. And it's all about defining those expectations early on and managing those expectations throughout, whether it be your stakeholders, the people who are paying for the project, or the people who are delivering the project on the contractual side, or even just the designers themselves. Everybody's got an expectation of how something is going to play out. And if you're going to be sitting across the full service spectrum like we do, you need to be working hard to manage those expectations.
Okay.